What's good? Welcome to First Stream Podcast. On today's episode of First Stream Podcast, we have Alvin Porch returning. We will talk about EA Sports NCAA 2025, the NBA All-Star Game. They got buckets. And Lefty Drizel. We lost a legend to the DMV. So we'll get into that and what he meant, plus a little bit more. I hope y'all ready today. Let's go.
Yeah.
First Stream Podcast. Yeah. Too Danny. Dre on the beat. You know. Yeah. What's your favorite squad? Tell me who you going with. First Stream Podcast. Yeah, we keep it lit. We got the latest updates. We don't pump fake. Like, comment, share. We don't care. Feel free to hate. We got great guests. Join us. You should chime in. Houdini on the intro for the time being. Lady A, representing Washington. Pick Washington, everything Washington. Aunt Mo coming out of Dallas, you know the business. Said, them Georgia Bulldogs ain't quitting. Yeah, if you ain't watching sports, you ain't living. About to get my mattress macked on, about to bet a million. Let's talk about it. We all grown and cool, we can talk about it. Before we hit the news, we gon' talk about it. Oh, you wanna bet? Let's pop a bottle, yeah.
Welcome back to First Stream Podcast. Do not forget to like and subscribe to First Stream Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. And the most important part is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First Stream Podcast. I'm your host, Toothpick. Now it's time for me to bring in the guy behind the scenes that does a lot. Said, how you doing?
What's up, my brother? What's good? What's good?
You know, I'm here living life, loving how I live it. You know, other than that, you know, it is what it is.
For sure. I got you.
Yeah, you know, hey, I don't see him, but check this out. You know who that is?
Nope.
That's the turtle. That's the turtle down there from William and Mary. That's our guest, Alvin Porch, doing big things. Bring it, Al said.
Man, a turtle is not how you describe a running back. We starting off on the wrong foot.
No. Hey, so the reason I brought up that nickname, right, is because I wanted to talk about somebody that he used to label his running backs, right? This is how I got the name Toothpick. Our old coach used to give all of his running back nicknames.
Okay.
So I know how I got Toothpick. Everybody knew I was skinny. He was like, no way, them legs, them calves, you need to hit leg day. You need to do that. That's how I got that one. How did you get Turtle?
Who called me the turtle? I don't remember being called the turtle. My official college nickname was actually the Beast. So I've never heard. I don't know.
Al, you used to run around with the Ninja Turtle joints on, bro.
Oh, the Ninja Turtle pants you did that? All right. Then I apologize. You bringing up some old memories because I had some old parachute pants or some old kind of Hirachi. What kind of jeans was it? Some Hirachis.
The Hirachis with the joint, yeah.
The big old belt and the Ninja Turtles I had. Yeah, you absolutely, boy. You know me a little too long, Toothpick. I think that might be the case.
Yeah,
He said, "Can we throw a foul or something on that right there? I got a flag. I need to throw a flag on that one. Throw a flag on the post.
How about this?
Yeah, I'm calling. Where's Lady Antoinette at? I need a flag.
That's that fine right there.
That's fine flag. I need one of those for sure, man. But yeah,
Lady A is not feeling well today, so she will not be with us. So this will be a fine-free episode of First Stream Podcast. It'll be fine-free today.
Well, I definitely said my best, man. So please, but
whenever she's not watching, she has people that report back to her. So don't think that FedEx won't swing past and get you. Let's say what's up to everybody in the chat. So I'm guessing Bruce Glass was in here because now John has arrived. Says I've arrived. Bruce Glass, what's up? Dump Truck Don has made his appearance. And said, Mr. There we go. There we go. Right. And then we got Droopy in the building.
Big
Right?
Clarence. Okay, Clarence.
Yeah.
love.
Oh, all right. So John had a question for us. Let's get this one. He says, Dump Truck Don might be the only person who knows the answer to this. Which former singer tried out for an NFL team and what team was it? I've been scratching my head since I seen this posted up.
Famous singer.
Hey,
wow.
I don't know what famous singer did.
I don't know.
No, Don, I'm not reporting live from the Army barracks. That's actually blue. I don't know. John, you're going to have to put that one in the comments for us. You're going to have to put that one in the comments for us and let us know.
Sam Hunt.
Sam, oh, you Googled it.
Who was it?
Sam Hunt.
What team?
Saints? Sam Hunt. That wasn't Sam Hunt. Wow, it must have been a long time ago.
He said, no way.
Marvin Gaye, the Detroit Lions.
I don't believe that.
Hold on a second.
Really?
That.
That's some trivia for you right there.
Yeah, that is. I think that's some made-up trivia. I don't know. I think that's some made-up trivia right there.
Yeah, it does say Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Marvin was gay?
It didn't say which team Sam Hunt tried out for.
Oh, good one, John. That was a good one. Let's start off with this. The NBA All-Star Game. Sunday. Now, I know Shaq said and Kyrie said, I get buckets, but they literally took that seriously. 211 points for the winning team. Don't forget the Big Cat dropped 50 in the game.
In a losing effort. Big Cat dropped 50. Dame was going off, and we're not even going to talk about Halliburton, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I do remember a time when they did play defense in the All-Star game, right? And a competitive spirit would come out. But I don't think they tried to hurt anyone. There was no defense there, Sid.
None.
So my question to everyone is, how do you fix the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game? How do you fix it? I'll go first. I got a suggestion, right? Okay, so it's an All-Star game, and All-Stars are going to do what All-Stars do. They're going to come out, they're going to have fun, they're going to entertain the crowd, right? But if you, and I said this to Doc, I said if you take down some of their money that they get for making an All-Star team, and put it to if you win, the winning team, $12 million or something like that. That's $1 million a piece, but it is what it is. But the losing team, you get about maybe $500,000. I mean, something like that. But you're not getting no meal. They got to do something about that money. What y'all think?
I agree. I think the only way to reach some of these guys in today's era is money. Granted, they make a boatload of money already, and I have no hating against that at all. I mean, get what you can, but the only thing that really moves these guys is money or some type of social media likes or something along those lines. Because I think you should, like you said, you hit on a good spot there, Toothpick. If you add a little bit more money or a higher purse to the winning team, and then make the losing purse dramatically less, I think that may incentivize the guys to play harder or play more. But you're in today's basketball game. They're not. I mean, all these guys. I mean, this didn't just happen this year. This has been steadily happening over and over and over, and year after year after year, where it's gotten worse. They've talked about this same subject every year, and still there's no change to it. So I mean, it's not going to be fixed overnight, I think. But I think you start with making the purses for the guys more money and doing different things along those lines. That may help. But Sid may have some better ideas, but that's the only way I know that these guys will react and probably play a little harder. But you ain't gonna get no much harder than what you're getting right now. You may get a 155 to 145 game.
I think there are a couple of things they're gonna have to change. One of the things is having the NBA players as captains. Just get rid of that. Let's start there. Let's go back to the old way they complained about all the time. The people being evaluated, who's not making the play, who's not making it to the All-Star game, yada yada yada. You know what? They complained about it, right? But when they finally made it to the All-Star game, what happened? Those who got shunned the year before, they showed up and showed out the following year because they was pissed off about not making it.
True.
That's not going to be an absolute fix to it. I think the thing is, like you said, money is going to have to be a factor. Them making it significantly higher, or some type of ad, or some type of gift, it's going to have to be something worth them playing to try to win. It's got to be something worth it, because at this point, the All-Star game was horrible. Let's just tell the truth. It's horrible. It was just remember, not more than about 3-4 years ago, they was talking about getting rid of the NFL All-Star game. They wasn't tackling, they wasn't covering, people just running free. Then they went to flags. I really don't like the flags either, but it's been competitive. You still got people catch the ball and run away like they lost kids, and that's what they're doing. So it's going to be a hard thing to fix. Or maybe they got to the point they do the same thing. They just threaten to get rid of them, get rid of the game because of lack of integrity in the game. I can see myself watching. I was like, I just kept shaking my head. I was like, dude, really? And they was like, hey, go ahead. You standing back, they shooting, they watching. If they get rebound, they get the rebound. If they don't, they don't. They make it, they make it. That's what it was. And it's gotten bad, man. The product has gotten bad. They scored 200 points, but really?
What do you think about doing like what baseball did when when the winner of the All-Star, whether it's East or West, got the home field advantage maybe in the finals? Do you think that would help adding a clause like that? How baseball does it? At one time when the winner of the All-Star game, that side, that conference had home field advantage in the championship game or the finals. You think that would help?
You're right. That could work as well, because at the current thing is the team at the highest seed gets the home court advantage. If I remember correctly, the team with the highest seed.
Well, best record. I think it's best record.
Right. They get the overall seed, so it could be either side at that point. For the number one seed. Maybe it's what they need to do.
Something.
Because like you said, if the MLB make it that way. That way, then. If we win, no matter what the record is, that's the only thing about that. No matter what the record is, then you get that side of the conference gets the number one seed
or the home field. Yeah, the four to seven games. Yes.
I don't know, but they need to do something, man, because it's ridiculous, dude.
I almost turned it off in the third quarter because when the West started blowing them out, it was a hard watch. Even my son was enjoying watching it because he's a huge basketball fan. So I still had to tie into the game because he was running in and out the room talking about what was happening on this game, but it wasn't real basketball. And that's and like I know I've heard the different pundits all on the different shows today talking about these give the effort that you see in summer league games and things along those lines. Like you go down Berry Farms, go down to different leagues all over the place. When the pros come to play, they at least put a little bit of effort. Now it's not, no one's going to get hurt. And I think that's what a lot of this stuff is. The guys are so afraid of getting injured. And it's a legitimate reason to think about, but if you think about getting hurt, you usually do. So that's one of those things too. So just think.
But what about the end season playoffs that they just did for the first time?
But you see what they did too. They made $500,000 per player as they went inside, 150,000 or something like that to the losing side. So like you said, back on what Toothpick was saying, what you were saying, adding a money prize as well to that it's something to consider. I mean, but it has to be something more. But these guys but with defense, that's a want to. And I don't
That's
care what sport you play. You got to want to play defense, and it's all fine to see the skills of shooting from half court and dunking all over the place and things along those lines. But it's a skill in playing defense. I remember Kobe and Marbury a couple years ago going back at it. I remember Jordan and Bird. I mean, not Jordan and
Jordan,
Bird.
Jordan and
Jordan
Magic.
and
Jordan
Magic
and
going
Magic,
at it a
yeah,
couple years.
and then Isaiah came down. Then Isaiah Thomas came down and went at Magic. Like those guys, they used to play like they would do what they did. They entertained people in the first half of those games. If you don't believe me, go back and look at those old All-Star games with Michael, Magic, Isaiah Thomas. They would entertain the first half. Come the third and fourth quarter, they was playing defense.
Yes.
Who won the MVP is because they played defense and they translated it over to offense and winning. It wasn't just everybody come out here like Don said and just jack up shots. No, you come out. You made your all-star team for the first time. You might not even get the ball passed your way. Remember, they would freeze people out. You remember that? They would freeze people out of all-star games because you made it here the first time. We'll see you the second time you come and we'll let you get a little bit more shine, a little bit more run. Now it's whose hometown we playing in? Okay, you the host, and we gonna make sure you get the MVP or something like that. No, come on, stop it.
But I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing too, Pick. The NFL got to blame itself. I mean, sorry, the NFL, the NBA, excuse me, needs to blame itself because the style of game has changed. The style of game is jacking threes now. Yeah. So you jacking more threes, making more threes, you're going to have a higher score. So they got to take that into account too. I think they shot 75 threes. Well, I'm sorry, the East shot 92 threes the other day, or 95 and made 42 of them. I mean, that's the style of play of today's basketball. So in the Steph Curry age of ball, where the three is better than two, where you got guys passing open layup up for a contested three, part of that is because the style of ball that the NBA has promoted now. So, I mean, they can say they want lower scores, but this is part of their doing. They've made this, the game of basketball has changed. It's bigger, longer, but everything is away from the rim now. So, I mean, you got all five guys shooting threes. So, in the next situation, you're going to have a higher score because you're going to have more threes and twos.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't see regular season games reaching 200 points.
No, of course not. But you still see a guy, the average shooting 25, 33s a game.
That's just true. But the lack of competitiveness, the lack of, like you said, want to play defense in the All-Star game, you have to give them a reason to play defense because there's no way that 211 points should be scored by the winning team.
I was surprised the scoreboard went that high because, like I said, I've never seen a scoreboard where the first digit allowed for two. So
right. That's true. Say, what was you about to say?
No. I mean, he said the same thing I was saying. You know, they was out there just jacking the threes from half court. They was coming across half court, just putting it up, bam, put it up there.
Yeah. That was called heat. They used to be called heat checks, right? They used to be called heat checks. Now what they call is I can shoot it further than you can.
Yes,
I can shoot from the logo. I can shoot one step across from half court. You know, Al, you're right because this does go back to like when Golden State won a championship because Golden State won a championship by playing defense just an amount of time, but they was outscoring you.
Of course. And it's fine in the first half, like I think you all have said. That's fine and good in the first half. But at some point, when you only play now, like you said, they used to play defense in the third and fourth quarter. Now they only play it maybe in the last 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, you know, at that point, like I said last night, that wasn't an option because the game was a blowout. So I mean,
right.
You know,
Don, I think you're getting fined for that. Like I said, Lady A may not be here, but you know she got people watching. She always tell us just because I'm not here don't mean I ain't got people watching. So, Sid, go ahead, show him what he need to do, Sid. There it is, right there, Don. Hand over the money. It's a fine line. All right, my man said, hold on. He said it's a fine line. NBA players want to have fun and not get hurt in the middle of the season. But at the same time, like you did hear LeBron come back and say nobody got hurt, right? How many of those NBA games were they were competitive. Did people get hurt? It's an all-star game. People know when they're not going to undercut each other going to the rim, right? They're not setting no hard pick and rolls, but the effort to close out on a person to contest a shot, there was no defense being played. And I got you. The celebrity game was more competitive. You right, Jay Black. The celebrity game was more competitive.
And the Rising Stars was a good game.
The Rising Stars game, and nobody got hurt yet.
No, they didn't. But those G League guys, they have something to prove. They got something to play with. Then you got the NBA guys who don't want to get showed up by the G League guys either. Even though one of the team, like I said, the second game, the G League team won. So I mean, like I said, you got to find a way to find a nerve in these guys.
Find that balance. Yeah. I just now noticed that Al's name is Alvin Porch, aka Drunk Unc.
That's what I sounded like last week. That's what that was. I said, rewatched the podcast, man. I said, dang, I sound like Drunk Unc, man. That might be my name. I appreciate y'all last week putting up with me last week, even though I was on nothing but water, man.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay.
And before we move away from NBA, let's talk about this as well.
Okay.
I think that all of these altercations that we've seen this year in the NBA is filtering down to college. I don't know if you guys
that other night, last night, yep.
And more than not just on the men's side, the women's side as well. These are impressionable individuals, and they're watching the NBA players and WNBA players doing this. And I caught the end of a OT game that was awesome. Going back and forth, shooting shot, and then
playing D.
In the handshake and in a brawl.
Yeah.
You just let a perfect, it was a great game. It could have went either way. They only lost by 2 points. It was a great game. And it just erupted into a brawl. But
Mike Miller.
How many brawls have they had so far this year in the NBA? Every time you turn around, they were showing another brawl.
Mm-hmm.
Another brawl.
And those rules, we need to they need to go back to the rules where it don't need to be technicals. You throw punches, you out.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they talk so much trash in the NBA. When you sitting low, when you can hear what they saying to each other. It's ridiculous.
That's been going on for years, though.
That's part of the game. That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
Yeah,
you can't take that out. You can't take that out. No, you can't take that out at all. It's part of the game. And if you catch feelings because you're getting busted, come on now. That take that up with somebody else.
And that's what I'm talking about. You can't get out here and talk trash and be thin skinned at the same time.
No,
you can't do it.
No.
Hey, what Fred Smoot say? Fred Smoot say sensitive thugs need hugs.
Yeah. But we say on the golf course is if you don't like what I'm saying, get better. So and I thought Mike put a comment out. Mike Miller, boy, how I love my man.
Boy, how that's our guy.
Put a good idea that may incentivize the guys of saying that Europe versus USA. Put a little more pride. Because, like I said, if you look at the top players in the NBA, most of them are from Europe, are not U.S. players.
Yeah, they're starting to be.
That's starting to be. Look at the top 5 All-Star or MVP votes from Shea Gilchrist. He's from Canada. Giannis, Greek.
Yep.
Joker, I think Serbia. What's the other guy from Dallas?
Dallas, Luka.
Luka Doncic. Look at the only U.S.-born person in the top 5 or top 6 is Jason Tatum. So like I said, U.S. need to start getting a little pride and saying maybe they need to do that U.S. versus the world on the All-Star game, and maybe that'll add a sense of pride.
Didn't they do that? Didn't they do that in like the Rising Stars used to be that way? And
I think they did a couple years ago.
Yeah, they got busted some years in a row where the world was beating the brakes all up. Hey, yep, there was another one, Joel Embiid.
Yep, Joel Embiid. Yes,
Joel Embiid. Yep.
He's from Canada. No, he's from Africa. from Africa. So, like I said, I mean, the top players aren't from USA no more. The stars, the faces of the NBA are. And LeBron, Steph Curry, would have been Ja if he was still playing. They're they're United States born, but like I said, the people who are leading the league right now and MVP candidates, like I said, they're not USA born, which is not a problem for me. But maybe thought having put that as a point of emphasis in the game so that you have strike a nerve between the two.
Yeah, that's it. USA versus the world, Don. We got it. Okay, let's take a trip down memory lane. All right. We've been waiting for this for a couple of years now. EA Sports and remember, EA Sports had it. If it's in the game, it's in the game, right? Madden, but the one that everybody used to go crazy for was the NCAA game. You had the option. You create your player, take them from high school to college, have them win the Heisman a couple of times, and then you transfer them over to the Madden.
Right.
Well, they killed that. Well, it's coming back, and my question to everyone is: are you excited? And then I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench into it. Say it. What is killing college sports right now? Is two things.
Okay.
What's killing college football right now?
I'm waiting to see it.
NIL.
NIL, right? And the transfer portal.
But the thing is, you're right, Pick. But the thing is this: I really dislike these head coaches.
Hold on, Sam. Before you go there, NIL and the transfer portal, right?
Right.
So, say you take your creative player to Hampton. You win the Heisman at Hampton, then LSU comes snatching from you because they got a gang of money.
That's it right there, Pick. That's the problem. It's not the NIL, the actual NIL or the transfer portal, in my opinion. I think there's no governing of the NIL and the transfer portal. You gotta set equal. Just because if you're Alabama and Alabama ain't got the same amount of money that Fresno State, or let's not say Fresno State because they're not Power 5. Let's even say like a UCLA in regards to the endowments and money. While UCLA got deep pockets for the majority of their schools and other programs, in regards, you set an equal. It got to be some governing of these things. It can't be. I got a friend of mine who, like I said, who coaches college basketball, and one of his complaints is the fact that these guys, you almost have to negotiate to get them to visit. If you can't guarantee them a couple $100,000, they won't even come on campus. And they ain't never done anything. That's why I think Nick Saban got out of the ball game. He saw it was going a place that he didn't like, and it made all the sense in the world. When you got freshmen who are asking for millions of dollars, who ain't never played a down of football, and they're getting paid more than your 2-year starting wide receiver who they had 1,000 yards, 10, 15 touchdowns every year. That's a bad situation to put a coach in. So it needs to be some rules.
The thing is this: I hear what you're saying. I understand that, but the college has been making millions of these kids for years.
Absolutely,
millions.
But that's not the question, though, Sid. But the question is this:
my thing is this. The whole thing. My thing is this, though. I don't mind these kids making that money. I don't mind these kids transferring. Why? Because these head coaches are taking a new gig before you can blink an eye.
Absolutely.
I got you. But that wasn't the question. The question is, when you play this video game, it's related to the video game, Sid. When you play this video game and you at small school,
yes,
and your player opts to transfer out because he is star, but he's not getting his pockets laced, how are you going to feel when he's gone over there? That was the question. How are you going to feel when you take the time to create this player and you invest in him and then he gone?
So they have that option in the video game where he get
yes. Yes.
But the thing is, it's like that's a part of it now.
Yeah, it is.
Now there are kids that stay, that no matter what they're being offered, they stay. But then I can only speak from University of Georgia. Then you have kids.
Oh, here we go, them
You know what I'm
dogs.
saying? No, I mean, I'm just being real. I mean, there are kids that lead.
Yeah.
Bear Alexander went out to USC.
Yep.
When he was at University of Georgia, they talking about how he was the next coming. He was no miss. He can't do this. There's nothing. He left because he said he wanted a guaranteed starting position.
Yep.
Guess what he doing at USC?
Georgia don't do that.
Ride the bench, probably.
Rotate. You could have stayed here and had a chance to win a triple. Hey,
which y'all should have had a chance to do. Which I think y'all should have had a chance to do. But that's a whole other subject.
Right.
But are y'all excited about NCAA 25?
I am, because I don't play as many video games, and if all these days, I used to be a big. That's in college. You talking about my favorite game of all time. When the NCAA EA Sports called 1990, showing my age, came out, I played that to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, because my favorite team was Pitt 80. That was my mom. And my boy used to play with Colorado. So I'm very familiar with the EA Sports college football. But like I said, being years and years removed from it, like I said, I'm excited for the kids, excited for the money that the kids are going to get, because now their actual likeness, and they'll get paid from it.
They'll get paid for it. Yep.
So I'm definitely excited about that aspect of it. But I got a PS4. My son's begging me for a PS5, and I'm sure he'll play it, but I'll enjoy watching him play it. But other than that, like I said, I'm interested to see the feedback from that whole transfer portal and NIL idea that you mentioned, Pick.
Yeah. Besides the Dr. Pepper commercials, I think the transfer portal can go crazy. I'm gonna tell you right now, because my favorite thing to do is take Sean Taylor's stats, his size, speed, agility, all of that, and put it into a college player and just make a defensive player win the Heisman. That's what I used to do. I used to take Sean Taylor's stats from the last video game Taylor was on, put those stats back in college, and you just see a person just dominate at every aspect: interception, speed, contact hits, and just destroy people.
At least you mentioned a Redskin that's worth mentioning. Like I said, you at least pull one out of the bag that's worth mentioning. I will give respect to Sean Taylor. Only two, him and Darryl Green are the only two real commanders that I would, I guess I won't even call them what I usually call them.
They was Redskins. They was not commanders. They were Redskins.
That I won't talk bad about, because they did it. They were two of the best for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go there right now. Let's go. Let's jump to the pros. Okay. Al, we had you in because I called you, asked you to come talk about Dan Quinn, and then we had a whole bunch of other stuff that you wanted to talk about, right? And we had to put some pins in some things, right?
Okay.
And we said we're gonna have you back, and we brought you back so we can get back into those great conversations, right?
Okay.
So let's start off with this. The East this year, the NFC East is not going to be the NFC least. I think Philly's going to rebound a little bit, grab their footing. I think the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders are going to be fighting for third and fourth, maybe again. The Cowboys truly do stand at the top of the division. How do you see this thing shaking out? And this is pre-draft. We're talking pre-draft now.
Pre-draft pick. This is what I'm going to tell you. This might surprise you. I'm going to take my bias and throw it out the window.
That's hard to do.
No, it's not. I can talk football without having. I got Ja vying for first place this year.
What year?
Listen to me. Philly is not going to be that good. You think they're going to rebound. I think it's hard to have we're going to have the same issue that Philly's going to have. But luckily, we kept some of our coordinators and different things and coaches outside of Dan Quinn, of course. But I think that Philly issue, something went bad fast in that locker room.
Really quick.
You lose to go from 10-1 to 11-7. Something had to go bad, and that ain't something you can't just hire a couple coordinators and a couple new assistants and things along those lines and think you're going to fix that. So I think unless they get to the real core issues of that, I think Philly's going to struggle to get 9 games, man, to get to 8, 9 games, unless something's really changed. Because I don't think Sirianni's going to make it the whole year. because he almost didn't make it back this year. Now, let me say this about y'all. This is what's going. I feel it's going to take for y'all. You have to, like I told Lady Antoinette last week, you have to get the quarterback right. If you and I think you having the second position, I think I like Drake May. I'm not as big on the kid from LSU as his first year as a lot of the other people are, but Drake or Caleb. But the fact that you all have so much cap room, and Washington with the new ownership is a destination that people, that free agents, because they'll spend, will want to come to. You have to invest heavy in that offensive line. I didn't like the fact that y'all got rid of both of your edge rushers. You should have got rid of Chase. You should have kept Sweat. I told you that last week.
Yeah, you
Should
did.
have kept Sweat and gave Sweat that money. Get you a couple linebackers, but y'all got cap room, and and that's real big, as much, especially as much as you all got, because you see in today's age, if you strike it good in the court, look at C.J. Stroud, and technically, Drake May is a better prospect per se than Stroud, and nobody knew Stroud was gonna be as good as he was. So I don't want to put the pressure on the young kid, but you got a quarterback whisperer and the offensive coordinator. I do like him. He's done a lot of good things. He's created one of those. As long as he's not the head coach, he can. So it's trending that you all can make a play for in the NFC East, because the Giants, their quarterback situation, of course, you got Dallas. I love them to death, but you know what you're going to get with them. I'm not thrilled with Dak. He's good, not great. I'm not thrilled with McCarthy. He's good, not great. But we're going to be in the same 10, 11, maybe 12 wins. But like I said, but the regular season doesn't matter for us. It's the postseason that matters. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what we do, and we're going to still do that. And we're going to, and like I said, Philly's going to have to deal with the fact, and we're going to have to deal with the fact that we're going to have a tougher schedule this year because we finished in first place. So that may step us back a win or two. That's why I said
that's only like 1 or 2 games. Like everybody thinks that the strength of schedule or finishing in first,
but
second, or
10 games,
first, second, third, or fourth. But
10
it's just
games makes a difference if you all improve 4 to 5. Which can do that with a quarterback and a new regime. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. I'm taking off my bias hat here. I know Ant-Mo is going crazy. I'm not the Giants. I mean, anytime you got Daniel Jones is still your starting quarterback, I'm just not. You can't get me excited about that. Like I said, Philly is the wild card, but I just think that, like I said, I just think they got some serious issues in that locker room between A.J. Brown, between Jalen Hurts, between that coaching staff, and a lot of things that didn't come out, and we don't know if they're fixed or not. So that's just my take with the NFC East. So I got us fighting for first place. Maybe with you all in Philly, the Commanders in Philly, fighting for the second, and maybe one of them, if Dallas takes a couple games back, can go where it be nip and tuck. I think the Giants will still be around 6, 7 wins. Definitely not thrilled with them, but that's just my opinion from what I see, because you all have a dramatic edge on the rest of the conference with the cap room and the draft picks. That makes a big difference.
Mike, you know I'm not buying into this guy right here. You know that guy right there. You know I'm not buying into what he's talking about, man. He cannot put a battery in my back, Mike. He can't put a battery in my back. He's not gonna charge me up.
This season, I'm gonna hate on you all as always.
He's not gonna crank it. He's not gonna crank me up and send me in that direction.
Hey, said, what did I say? I threw my biases out the window, and I'm speaking from just now. When the season starts, all biases are back. I can't stand y'all. Y'all will become the commodes again. But I haven't called you the commodes all night. But I'm just saying, from that, I think you all have a chance. You're gonna have like I said, dump truck down. The last place schedule. That's another thing. That makes a difference. You all won 4 or 5 games, like 4 games last year. That like I said, with improved roster, improved coaching staff, different morale, that can be a 4 or 5 game slide. And that gets you in that 8, 9 game, maybe even I doubt 10, but maybe 9. If not, that puts you in the mix in the NFC East, because we're going to be fighting like dogs. I mean, I just think that because you know how it is. I mean, we all beat up on each other, and then depending what the out of division schedule happens, determines who wins first place. But I mean, I just think what I'm saying, that $70-something million in cap room with a new quarterback, a new coach, a new morale, because Listen, I think DQ is going to be creative. And the one thing I know about him, he's going to let Kingsbury direct that offense. He's going to sit back and coach the team, but he's going to let Kingsbury run that offense. And I think if he's creative, use the I told you all, you have weapons in Dotson and McLaurin and your tight end, a couple of young wide receivers. Yeah, I think Johnson's a solid running back, but that group, he's okay. You get a couple better players in the backfield. I mean, I'm just saying it's possible. That's not saying
Okay.
likely.
Listen, we know that it's a cruise ship. This ain't no speedboat. It don't just turn on a dime, right?
Right.
It's a cruise ship. It's a slow turn. It's a slow turn. You got to have some patience and things like that. Said, how do you see the East shaking out?
I mean, excuse me. I don't. It's hard to tell the pre-draft and everything with all the movement that's going on right now, because I mean, there's talk about quarterbacks being changed out, and that's big right now.
Franchise tag still ain't. We need to get there. We got
Franchise
tag
tags
game
haven't
next
gone
week.
out, so it's hard to tell at this point. Like Saquon. Do they tag Saquon? So
That's not happening.
but I'm just saying. So things like that makes a difference. On what could or could not happen. Philly's problem is they got to have the same offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator from the following year, and they don't.
They don't.
So they're starting over again, which is bad for Jalen Hurts. He's only had 1 year, 2 years where he's had the same offensive coordinator the same year back to back. The first year he was good. The second year to make it to the Super Bowl. So he has to get consistency. Now another thing with Philadelphia is they got to get a speedster. If they get a speedster,
got one.
They
got
got
Devontae Smith. They got AJ Brown.
if they get a
got a
speedster,
tight end. They got Swift in the backfield.
what I'm saying is Smith is a routician. I'm talking about somebody who's coming off. I'm talking about somebody who's coming off the line, making you retreat, whether they throw the ball to him or not. Devontae Smith is not always doing that, Pig. I watched the game, bro. He is not always doing it. Sometimes
I know that's your other team. That's Georgia North.
Sometimes in the game he disappears because they have jammed him because he's so light. You need somebody who's going to come off that line and make people backpedal.
AJ Brown get on top of you. AJ Brown will get on top of you a little bit.
Yeah, he will. He will.
But it's not consistent. That's what I'm telling you. You got to have somebody who's going to come off the line.
Okay. I like Don's answer.
They have, but then again, you go from there. Defensively, they have 9 defensive line pieces. They need one. I think they need one more piece in the middle to help them out. I don't like their scheme either. So depending on the new defensive coordinator, they'll adjust that scheme. I didn't like the way the scheme was toward the end of the year. Maybe it's just me, but I personally didn't like it.
It wasn't much to like about Philly, period, at the end of the year.
Now to the Cowboys are having to replace the scheme of Dan Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
The weakness of Dan Quinn's scheme is an athletic tight end. And just like it showed up when it gets Atlanta, when Atlanta's playing in the Super Bowl, it showed up again in the playoffs. If you have an athletic tight end, it's going to eat you alive. So with that being said, Cowboys need linebackers. Vander Esch's neck injury, he's being forced to retire. So they got to get an athletic linebacker to start with. They need at least one more offensive lineman. I think the center or one of the tackles going to retire. So they got to fill those positions in. I don't know what you're gonna do with Dak. It is what it is. I guess you let him have the contract.
We're gonna have to sign him, but that's the worst thing we're gonna do. Go ahead.
But then you go over to the Giants. The Giants are close. They got a number one pick on one side of defense. They got a top 10 pick on the other side of defense. These are 2 defensive ends, bookend defensive ends. The Giants need a cornerback. Offensively, they got a nice tight end when he's not hurt. But again, they don't have a speedster either in one of wide receiver position. What are they gonna do with quarterback? There's been rumors that they could do a switch with teams for the quarterback they have now so they can draft a new one. Who knows?
Nobody's taking Daniel Jones. Nobody's taking Daniel Jones.
Let's not say rumors. It's just rumors right now. Until I say it happens, it's rumors.
But Pig, I don't know if I told you too. Brian Daboll was the tight ends coach at William Murray my senior year.
See, and that's another reason why we have Al on, because it's just crazy the amount of people that Al know
It's funny.
legitly.
That's from that little school
then-
in Williamsburg, man. A lot of coaching talent came from there.
Right.
And this
And
is the thing.
football talent.
This is the thing, though. Okay, go ahead, say. Go ahead.
Last but not least, the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders should draft a new quarterback. I mean, I've seen the guy play. What I think the Commanders should do is get some added draft because the Commanders have cap space. Use that pick, move back. All right, there are like 7 or 8 offensive tackles. I'm talking about legitimate offensive tackles coming out in college this year.
Okay.
Move back, get you a couple more picks, or whatever, and then you have to address the offensive line. Don't avoid it. Don't go past it. Hell, you want a tight end? You got one that they talking about is going to Cincinnati. That being Brock Bowers. They think he's gonna fall to Cincinnati at 18. You move back, you have a legitimate tight end at that point. I'm not talking about the guys that are tall. You have a legitimate speedster and tight, a legitimate problem, a legitimate Kelsey and tight end if y'all pick Brock Bowers as a moving back. And depending on how many picks you get, you can come back. Hold on, I'm saying then you'll be able to come back and you'll be able to get another offensive tackle. Because you got to fix the offensive line. Fixing the offensive line right now is number one.
Whew.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the quarterback position. All right, you can't assume that you will. They say the quarterback position is the most
important position in sports.
The most important position in sports, right?
Yep.
And when you are in that top 5 range,
got to get it right.
You have to get it right because guess what? You are not planning on being back in the top 5 next year. Okay. And then not only that, but you have to look at what's coming out the next 2 years. That's the part that everybody forgets is, you don't need a quarterback now because you can get one next year, right? And then you have a draft that produces, what's your boy, Zach Wilson.
Yes.
That one where they had the 3 quarterbacks and all of them was garbage.
Yes.
Right? All 3 of them. Who was those 3 quarterbacks? Zach Wilson. Trevor was legit. Trevor was legit. Trevor Lawrence was legit. He went 1. But he didn't look like he was legit his first year because he had a buffoon as a head coach.
Yeah.
Right? So you had Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and then your boy that played 1 game in college, and he's with the Cowboys and Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, yep.
And Trey Lance, right?
But I told you that was a bad. I said when they picked it was a bad pick.
We both said because
Justin Fields in that draft too, wasn't it? When
Justin Fields, Justin Fields. But I think Justin Fields went in the 2nd round, or he went late first round.
He was like number 10. He was like number 10.
Yeah, he went in the first round.
Okay, so and now look at Chicago.
Mac Jones.
They don't even know what they want to do with Justin Fields, right? Everybody else is like, we can fix him. Everybody's like, we can fix him. But so you have to take a deeper look before you start yelling, trade back, you get a quarterback next year, or you get one later in the draft. Because trust me, these 3 quarterbacks that's up front, they're different than the next ones that'll be drafted. Now, everybody will reach for a quarterback, but there is a big gap. The same way that everybody says that there's a gap between Michael Jordan, or as John Thompson will say, Elgin Baylor, and then you skip 3 or 4 places. You skip 3 or 4 places, and then you got your next guy, right? Yep. There's a difference between these 3 quarterbacks up top that everybody's talking about. And and Malik Willis was in that draft too.
But like I said, Mac Jones, garbage. But I say this, let me ask you all this. Do you think that the Washington fan base would stand for that type of move that said it's suggesting? I'm not saying it's a bad move, but said suggesting. They would go crazy because this is the thing. If Drake May and Caleb Williams turn out to be half as good as if they say it's going to be, and they trade back and get a offensive lineman but don't find a quarterback, I just don't know if the fan base would be behind that.
Offensive lineman is never a sexy pick, but most
times never a bad pick unless you're.
But it's never a bad pick. Unless you're the New York Giants. That part right there. Unless you're the New York Giants, but a offensive lineman you can put in there and plug them. Unless they get hurt and beat up,
10
they
years.
there and
10
they
years.
gonna be there, right? But you have to invest in that offensive line.
You do.
Now, my thing is this. I keep saying that I like the kid out of LSU, and the reason I like the kid out of LSU is because he went to Arizona. He went to Arizona State with Herm Edwards, and
Yep.
he got that hard coaching. And
Mhm.
he didn't leave until they did Herm dirty.
They did do him dirty.
But he stayed and took it and didn't play with a whole bunch of talent. But he did get a wide receiver drafted at number 1 that went to New England.
Yep.
Y'all forgot about that.
Kai Harris,
He
wasn't
got yep, he got Harris drafted and went first round to New England, right? So we already knew what kind of talent this kid had. Then he goes to LSU with another hard-nosed coach, right? And they put a lot on him, and he's about to get 2 more wide receivers drafted. So yes, he's slight of frame, but he's worked with 2 a-holes of head coaches. So he's not going to be afraid to take coaching. And then the other part about this is this, and people say, oh, if you got to do a background check on him, then I don't want it. But guess what? The NFL does background checks on every person. They have a position in their offices for this. They're called investigators to find out what kind of person they're going to give millions of dollars to. Because when you give a person millions of dollars, they change.
Hey, Picnic, Toothpick, every daggone locker room got some thugs in it. So stop. Yeah, if they want choir boys, then good luck with that. Every good locker room need a couple thugs. Need a couple
You
goons.
need a couple thugs.
Gotta have a couple goons in it.
Hey, you need a couple people that's not afraid to throw hands on a football field.
Yeah. You just got to make sure you got a locker room that can keep them guys reined in. That's all. You gotta have some people that's on the edge of crazy and on the edge of greatness. I mean, it's a thin line. So you gotta have a couple of those. You gotta have a couple of those. I don't want a locker room that ain't got a little crazy in it. That's I don't want that locker room.
I want a locker room where we gonna fight in the locker room. We gonna get on the football field and be all brothers and fight back. We get back in there. We're gonna talk about each other's mamas and get you fired up so we can go out here and take it out on the other team.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna hate each other Monday through Saturday. We're gonna hate each other because we're gonna practice that hard. Say it. What y'all call it? Bloody Tuesdays.
Yes, sir.
I call it Bloody Tuesdays, but on Saturdays and Sundays we coming to kick your butt.
Absolutely.
Ron O'Neal said trade back and get the best O lineman in the draft. Ron, I used to scream that too, but you know what? I want to get this quarterback position picked. Plus, with 70-something million in cap space, guess what you can do? You can literally draft the offensive lineman with one of your 2 second-round picks and still get a good one. But then you can also get a center that is going to be the key call to your offensive line and you can get a tackle. You can get a tackle in free agency. Somebody that know what they're doing. Somebody that knows what they're doing and not happy with their situation and want to come here and be our version of Trent Williams and stay there and be a Pro Bowler for the rest of their lives, right? And maybe wear your uniform in the Hall of Fame.
And let me say this too, what he said, that would be a good idea if you had quality quarterbacks coming up that you could go invest in as a free agent. But the best quarterback you got, you ain't bringing Kirk Cousins back. You ain't bringing Russell Wilson back. So, I mean, those are the top 2 quarterbacks in this year's free agency. So, I mean, once again, that's why I said you got to draft one and work on signing some offensive linemen. You got the draft capital to pick up some young offensive linemen, sign you a couple offensive linemen in free agency, and see what kind of mix you can. Because I'm going to tell you, a good quarterback hides a lot of those things, and just like a bad offensive line can hurt a young quarterback. But like I said, you get a solid offensive line. I mean, look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh struggled when they got Pickett. They were struggling at the offensive line position. They put a couple free agents in there, made a couple draft picks. They were serviceable. And they weren't competing for a Super Bowl, but they were never over 500, and they found a quarterback. Now Pickett's not good.
I got one better for you. Al.
Who's not good?
I got Pickett. Hold on, listen, say it. I got one better for you. I got one better for you. Remember,
offensive coordinator.
Hold on. Wait. Remember Cincinnati. Cincinnati drafted Joe Burrow, right? Yeah. Behind a terrible offensive line, right?
Most that quarterback.
The very next year, What did they do? Did they go get an offensive lineman?
Got
No.
Jamar Chase
They got a wide receiver. Where did they wind up?
in the Super Bowl.
Because they had a quarterback.
They got a wide receiver and they drafted offensive lineman. They got both.
But they did it in free agency and the draft. Their first pick was a wide receiver.
They drafted offensive lineman.
Look it up. Yeah, they did, Sid. I absolutely said that. But they drafted. They did, but he wasn't one. He wasn't their first pick.
No, it wasn't one.
Their first pick was Chase. They got the quarterback the year before. They got a dynamic wide receiver the second year. They addressed the offensive line through the draft and free agency, wound up in the Super Bowl. Because the quarterback hid a lot of their deficiencies, but even still in the playoffs, he still took sacks. Remember, he took 9 sacks versus Tennessee, and they still won the game.
Yes, they did. That's why I said you got to get the quarterback right. That's important. Like I said, you can build around it.
This is my thing. I hear what you're saying. Gotcha. I got you. I understand what you're saying. But that's why it makes sense for the Commanders to move back.
No, it don't.
It does too, Pick, but it does too. It does.
Let me ask you this: would you pass? Would you pass on Joe Burrow? He ain't Joe Burrow.
The guy has shown if you're giving him time, he can make the throws. The guy has shown. Wait a minute.
He ain't Joe Burrow.
Hold on.
Are you passing on Joe Burrow? If the Falcons was at number 2 and Joe Burrow was there, would you draft?
If you move
I'm
back,
not buying that suit.
You don't know how many picks. I'm not saying, say you pick up 2 picks in this draft, 1 in the next draft. You move back. You still have a first round pick. You want to address one of the things y'all need to address, tight end. I'm not saying you're gonna pick Brock Bowers, but he is the best tight end in this draft, hands down.
Said you can't be willing to move back for a tight end.
No, Sid, if you move back for a tight end, if you move back and draft a tight end, you fired the very next day.
He is the best tight end in this draft.
You, the GM, the coach, the whole coaching staff. I
don't care who you put back. If you draft Drake May and you got the same offensive line, you're going to get the same results of the same year.
But it's not going to be the same offensive line, Sid, with 70-something million in cap space. There's no way that you're coming back with the same offensive line.
You still have to address, but y'all know it's not just
said free agency happens before the draft.
You're not
no, you're not. You don't have to replace it. You don't have to replace all, and that's why I use Cincinnati as the example, because Cincinnati fixed. They needed 4 offensive linemen. They needed 4 out of 5 offensive linemen. They fixed 2 with free agency, 1 in the draft. 1 in the draft, and he still was getting his butt whooped
because
in
they
the
weren't
playoffs.
good picks.
Man, Aunt Mo, give me some help over here, man.
The point is, you do not pass.
Cincinnati did not fix their line.
That year, but they still went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that was more luck than anything. He was the most sacked quarterback in the league that year.
He was indeed. But that just like Al said, if you have the quarterback, he will erase some of your problems.
Yes.
So you saying pass on a quarter?
Yeah, but do you want him to be Andrew Luck though? Like Andrew Luck erased a lot of problems too, and look, he's not in the league anymore. So that's only a short-term thing. Like the way these guys continue to be great is you got to keep them upright. It's that simple. And free agency ain't the way to do it. You got to go get some studs, man, and let them develop so that they can grow with the quarterback.
I'm not saying
get a good mix. A good mix.
Get a good mix. If you
got 2 second-round draft picks, you can use those for the alignment. You got 2 second-round draft picks. Get you another veteran. Get you a veteran on a good deal, short term, to help mold those guys, and you find a balance. I just think you got to get the quarterback right. You can't have a top 2 pick and have 2 generational quarterbacks to pick from and not get one of them.
You got to get one of them.
That's my
and the thing about it. And we have a guard. We have center problems and we got tackle problems, right? So if saying it's like 8 tackles in this draft, right? You can go get you another guard, and you can go get another guard in the draft, or get a tackle and a guard in the draft, and add 1 free agent on the offensive line. But you have to address the problem, but not by passing on a generational talent at number 2 at quarterback.
You don't know
You
if he's a
cannot do that.
generational talent pick. Everybody says
You
that.
have you have
No, hold on, pick. Can we just say that most quarterbacks that are drafted in the top 10, they're gonna throw out that generational thing. That's what they do. Okay?
you know
I'm
what?
not saying that the kid isn't good or any of these kids aren't good. But the generational thing, here's my issue with Washington fans is for all of the offseason last year and the beginning of the season, you guys were drooling at the mouth. And I seen Doc come on here and he was, oh man, have you seen that kid? He's a stud. You just wait till he does it with those weapons. You guys still haven't done right by him to push him to the side to see if he actually is good enough to survive in this league. You know as well as I do. If all you're doing is looking down at your feet, it's not good. I don't care how good you are, it's going to affect the way that you play. And it's going to be hard to be the best quarterback you can be when you're getting sacked on the first play of the NFL season.
Yep.
Absolutely right. And you know what? And you know what? And you know what? You know what I'm not opposed to? I'm not opposed to bringing in competition and making them earn it, because that's what this league is supposed to be about. There's competition at every other position, right? There's competition at every other position. Why not have quarterback competition at your quarterback position? Because for the last couple of years, they've been saying we're going to have a competition at the quarterback position in Washington. He's never had a true quarterback competition, right? A true quarterback competition, the cream is going to rise to the top. The locker room is going to tell you who the guy is. But when you have Jacoby Brissett come in and tell Jacoby Brissett you have a shot at being our starting quarterback, but you never get no run with the ones, that's not a true quarterback competition. And so if you do draft a quarterback and Sam is still there because he's still under contract on a rookie deal,
yeah,
and both of these guys, you give them a shot. Competition brings out the best in people because they know that their reps is limited and they have to put their best foot forward every day. You can't have mistakes. You can't misread defenses. You have to put the ball where it got to be.
I don't think it'd be a bad idea if Howell started a couple games, and if you drafted Drake May or whatever, he sat behind him a few games to learn from, like you said, and the whole competition thing. And Washington, one thing they have drafted well over the years is offensive line. Sheriff, Trent Williams. I've had success drafting offensive linemen. Like I said, take those 2 second rounds and get a late first round pick. Different things you can do, different things to get back in the first. I just don't think if you're the top 2 picks, you can give. And you got, I understand what you're saying, Mo, in regards to everybody, they give that generational talent. But like I said, these were 2 quarterbacks, being Drake May and Caleb Williams. They've talked about for 2 years. People didn't draft quarterbacks last year with the hopes of potentially. That's why Chicago passed down on getting a quarterback last year. They wanted to see Fields give it another year, but they knew if he didn't work out this year, they had two better options coming up this year. So I mean, I understand what you're saying, that it may not. They always do that generational talent description out, but I think this year with those 2, and like I said, with Daniels being there, you have some blue chippers up there that give you an option to speed up the curve at quarterback.
Yeah, and don't forget.
So
Don't forget, this is
let me answer back.
I got you, Ant, but this year's quarterback class, it is pretty deep. But between the 1 and 3 quarterback and the 4 and 6 quarterback is a big drop off, right? It is a huge drop off. So if you saying, okay, go get Steady Eddie from Michigan, he may be a good quarterback. He may be the next Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins ain't won a damn playoff game.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you good. So here's my thing with that. You just named 2 linemen. You named 2 linemen over how long? And one of those guys had to get away from you because y'all was about to kill him.
That's no lie.
It's a different front office. It's a different front office now.
You hope.
I agree, but I'm saying that ain't it though. Like, all I'm saying is, man, it's harder to miss on linemen than it is to miss on a quarterback. And you get one shot at a quarterback. If it's a lot of tackles or whatever, I'd rather you guys try to load up and see what y'all can do to put together. Because one thing that I know for sure is regardless if you draft him or not, if you can keep that quarterback upright, he'll be better.
Everybody keeps saying, push it back. Well, let me ask you this question. If you push it back and you say, well, we'll get a first rounder next year, we're not going to address the quarterback position this year. Who's coming up in the draft? Tell me who you're excited about drafting next year. Who's the number one quarterback?
Carson Beck. He's going to win the Heisman. Almost guaranteed.
Is he special?
Yep. Boy can spin the rock. You're going to find out. Boy can spin the rock.
That's the Georgia quarterback, right?
Yeah, that's the Georgia quarterback. But Sam didn't even want Carson Beck. You was screaming for the other quarterback this year.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, before Beck.
No, I wasn't. That was the year before I was screaming for a different quarterback. This year, no one. I was screaming for Carson. I was screaming for Carson Beck last year. Not this.
I like the boy out of Florida State. I think better than Carson Beck next year. I'm saying.
Broke leg?
I mean, he'll be back. I mean, he'll be back.
He can't come back. He got to come out this year.
Oh, he's finished this year?
Yeah.
I thought he had the eligibility. I thought COVID gave it.
The NCAA took it away from him.
He got hurt in the bowl game.
Oh, it took it back.
The NCAA took it away from him. Yeah, he broke his leg. See, that's what I'm saying. Is next year's quarterback class, it may not be the same. It's not going to be. It may wind up being the Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence type draft class. So everybody keeps talking about push it back. What if you don't even have a quarterback going the second round? And every team reaches for a quarterback. Every team reaches for a quarterback. So you're there.
If they do this. They looking at bringing starting y'all over for another 3-4 years before you get back to the playoffs. That's what they're looking at.
It's a hard reset. And guess what?
If you're stopping and drafting another quarterback at number one, knowing the quarterback in front of him only has 2 years in the league, that's a reset.
And guess who won't see the next quarter? Guess who will not see the next quarterback drafted? The head coach.
I'm just saying it's a reset.
That's right.
Because like me and Ed have been saying, had they fixed the offensive line last year.
That's last year. You can't go back.
You're not letting me finish, Pick. Had they addressed the offensive line last year, they would have had a better evaluation of this cat. When you get sacked on the first play of the game after playing in 3 preseason games, and you get sacked on play number 1?
I was sitting here screaming. I was right here on the screen with you doing draft day, screaming for an offensive lineman. I was screaming for an offensive lineman on this podcast on draft day. In the second round of the draft, I was screaming for an offensive lineman for the Washington Commanders. And they doubled up on defensive backs.
Matter of fact, let me see something.
Doubled up on defensive back. Not once, but twice. We're going to run back twice. So this year, I understand. I'm yelling quarterback now. I'm yelling quarterback. I'm yelling, give me Jay Daniels. That's what I'm talking about.
If I'm Dan Quinn and I got a 5-year contract, which would he get? Which would he received? I'm going to draft me a quarterback to start this new regime with, and put my eggs in that basket. Most likely, that's just what I think he should do. Not saying that's what he's going to do, but if I was Dan Quinn, that's what I would do. If what my scouts say, it makes sense. And you got to follow the scouts. Don't get me wrong. When you bring in Drake May and you go to the combines and you bring him in for his workouts, if the numbers and if he doesn't pass the eye test, then you reevaluate moving down. But I think if you come in and you see what you need to see when he comes in for his workout, you got to go with one of those top quarterbacks because, like I said, if he can be a program changer or he's good for 3 or 4 more wins, you got to go get him. I just think because you don't want to be in this position next year. That's what you don't want to be. You draft for offensive lineman, you don't get the quarterback right, and then next year you're still drafting in the top 5, hoping you get a quarterback as good as you turned down last year. You don't want to do that. And that's kind of what Chicago lucked up and did it. You know what I'm saying? Because they passed on the quarterback knowing what this draft was coming up. Like you said, there's no guarantee that you're going to have this caliber of quarterback or caliber of prospects, let's say it that way, coming up next year, that if you don't get it right this year, and you're right back here next year doing the same thing, that you're going to have this group good of a crop to pick from.
Yep. And Chicago, not only did Chicago luck up, but the Carolina Panthers helped them luck up by not supporting the quarterback that they had fully the way they should have.
I don't
With
think
that,
I don't think the story's written on Young either. I'm still a
oh
Young
no,
fan.
no. It's just the coaching staff. It was that coaching staff that wasn't right, and so we're hoping because we don't know that the Washington Commanders coaching staff is going to be the correct environment for whoever they decide to choose. Uh, and yeah, those scouts and Bruce Wayne. That's who Adam Peters looks like to me. He look like a Bruce Wayne. Um, those scouts and Bruce Wayne, they come up and say, "Hey, this is the way we want to go right here." And Dan Quinn, here's your groceries, make it work. And then Dan turns to Cliff Kingsbury and say, "Give me an offense that this guy can thrive in."
Yeah.
And then we talk to Tavia Pritchett, the quarterback's coach, and everybody like that, and they get to working with this dude or whoever, all of them, not just one. Don't just throw Sam out there, say it because I understand what you said is real. And just like Ant was saying as well, you have a quarterback in Sam Howell that you may be able to fix. Don't throw the baby out despite the bathwater. Let's see what he got. Let's make it a competition for real, right?
And to your point, Pick, I don't even think he's broken. I think the kid did show a lot of promise. I don't
think
think
so.
that any of the people, the Lady A's and all those people who said what they saw, I think it was a legit thing. I don't think he's ever been given the ability to really develop, get an off season. Everybody was all over the moon about what he did against the Cowboys in that last game of the season, but that's not a real judge or gauge of what he could do. Like, I mean, it's the high end of if he's clicking, if the run game is working, if all that stuff. No. He needs to really develop under a scheme and a system that he can really be that guy. And none of that stuff was for him. You see what I'm saying? The
I got
offensive
you.
coordinator, none of that. So, I don't think he's broken. I just think he hasn't had the time to, have somebody say, no, seriously, you're the guy, even with a competition. So,
well, okay, I got an assignment for everybody next week. All right. Said I'm gonna need you to present an argument for drafting a quarterback and sitting them. And I'm gonna need you to draft an argument for throw the rookie to the fire.
What rookie?
Whatever quarterback you get, throw the rookie to the fire. Whatever quarterback, throw him in the fire. I need an argument for you for throw the rookie to the fire. Said I need an argument for you for let him sit and wait. We'll handle that. We'll handle that argument next week. Let's talk about somebody we lost this past week, and a Hall of Fame head coach, Lefty Driesell, coached at the University of Maryland, but Lefty was more than that. Lefty was a innovator, a motivator. He was a uniter and a divider all at the same time. He was one of those coaches that players would run through the wall for.
Absolutely.
Right? Lefty meant a lot to the DMV. He really did. We always talked about how rich the DMV is in basketball talent, and he got players to stay home at the University of Maryland.
Man, listen, that was my first basketball camp for several years. The Lefty Driesell basketball camp as an adolescent, man. So I definitely Maryland basketball, Jeff Baxter, Cedric Max, man, all those guys, man. Len Bias, of course. Like I said, he's kind of he put Maryland on the map with that squad, man. He brought pride to the DMV. Was keeping the players home, as well as being a hell of a coach who, like you said, united players, spoke out for the rights of players, and keeping players at home. So, man, nothing but all the best to his family, man. I wish him well. My condolences to them. But like I said, Lefty is a legend, man, who lived a good life, man. Like I said, I think he was 92. I think they said somewhere.
Man.
He
was up there.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, Lefty would tell you, don't cry for him, man. Like I said, no regrets on that side, man. Lefty lived a very good life off the court, and especially on the court, man. He definitely got his roses while he was here, man. So you got all the respect to Lefty Driesell, but a heck of a basketball coach and even better person, as I always say.
I'm gonna tell you something about Lefty. Lefty and Coach Tomlin was sending their teams out to go play street ball. And wasn't it amazing how they would always wind up down Anacostia, Maryland versus Georgetown down Anacostia?
Every time.
Y'all do not know when the word got out that the Terps was down here at Anacostia. Georgetown showed up and they showed out and they were whole court. You've never seen half of the stuff you would have saw in a college game. These dudes were going at each other. We talked about the All-Star game, these dudes playing defense and stuff like that. Some of the games that they played outside in Anacostia was unreal. Unreal.
The only thing we missed out, we never saw those guys, those teams. They never got to play in the regular season. That was probably one of the biggest crimes that we were robbed of during that era.
Because Coach Thompson and Lefty was fighting for players. They was fighting for players. So I think they played like maybe twice, and they said we can't do it no more.
Can't do it.
Because I'm losing out by losing to you.
It's bad recruiting. Yep, bad recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Man, we Maryland and Georgetown both lost some great coaches that kept our players at home. All we can do is hope that we find the next coaches to keep these players from the DMV home, and so they can go ahead and bring these programs back to prominence. The NCAA is right when Georgetown and Maryland sitting on top and they battling it out.
Absolutely.
Did we cover everything? Thank you for calling in, Ant, from the radio station. We know you in there. We appreciate you, Ant.
Yeah, man. You know, I tapped in as soon as I could, man. You know.
I know. Be careful, man. Be careful. We know what you're doing. We work and we appreciate you for tapping in the way you did, bro.
Yeah, I was looking for you tonight, Ant, man. I felt a little outnumbered, man. I needed some more of my Cowboys out here, man.
Hey, you probably was gonna continue to get outnumbered if you looking for me to be an ally. But I do hate that I was looking forward to you coming back, man. And it was just so crazy busy today, man. I hate that. I was like, dang. So
I understand. I appreciate y'all having me back, man. Thank you, man. It's always a ball. It's always a good time with you guys, man. Even though, like even there with Toothpick, the Commode fan, and he's my man. You know what I'm saying? He took me back to my turtle pants, man.
Yeah,
everybody don't know about that, man. You know.
Hold on, I got one for you. Hey, you remember the onside kick we had for Mike Miller?
Oh my God! Let's not bring Mike Miller football. Let's not bring Mike Miller football in recycling.
Hey, your boy Gary Wren, yo. It's Miller time.
Gary Wren, rest in peace, Gary Wren, man.
Yeah, rest in peace, Coach Wren. Oh man, and Mike would go up and jump. Mike, I ain't forget about you, bro. I ain't forget about you, man. Oh my God, bro. We had so much fun.
Real quick, Pick. Do you remember Mike showed up for football practice that first day with the baseball cleats on?
Yep. Yes, I do. Hey, hold on. You remember Dave Clark was waiting for him to come across the middle?
I do.
Super Dave was sitting back there waiting like this. Oh, I'm finna eat you up, Mike. Come on across this middle. Mm-hmm. Super Dave, my guys, man. Hey, Sid, let's get out of here. You ready?
For sure.
All right. Hey, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to First Screen Podcast. Give us that good thumbs up. Hit that bell to enable alert for new content just like this. The most important part is that you tell a friend about First Screen Podcast. So shout outs to my son, United States Air Force, First Screen Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Tell them, say it.
No dogs.